there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for the official announcement stream of Mauricio Pochettino being announced as the new Chelsea manager by Chelsea. He apparently only starts work on July 1st. Obviously, there will be some background stuff that he will do beforehand. But yeah, officially, he will only start work on July 1st. Not sure whether that's to do with gardening leave or whatever. But I will be perfectly honest. As you can see, just myself today. I put it in the chat as well. I'm going to put it up on screen so you guys can see it as well. Because it's quite early in the day. It's bank holiday in England. It's early morning in the US. I mean, I'm not quite sure what Chelsea were thinking with this time. Again, we're this American-owned football club. Why would you do it on a Monday? Is it bank holiday in the US? I'm not sure. But and also we announced in Argentinian. So like it's early morning for half of the side of the world that matters here. Like I say, US-owned club, Argentinian manager. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm going to be by myself. So I would appreciate you guys getting involved. Obviously, use super chats if you want to. Otherwise, just put normal chat messages, put questions in that you want me to talk about, put just your opinions there so we can have a back and forth. I think we can have a good time. And Vic, so what tune is this then? La 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 la. Hey Poch, is that it? Is that it? Memorial Day in the US, is it? All right, there you go. So it's still a day off, but it's still early in the morning and people are going to be doing stuff outside of their homes. So like, yeah, not sure what Chelsea were exactly thinking with this announcement timing, but hey, here it is. Just like the old days, eh? I mean, Adash, if you're free, you can come on if you want to, obviously. I didn't message you because you were only on yesterday. But yeah, if you want to come on, hit me a message and I'll send you the link. No worries at all. How do you think we could fit Caicedo, Ugarte, and Kunku in a new strike in the same team? Hunyan, sorry for butchering your name, bro, but not sure this is quite the question I was talking about. Like, let's talk about Poch for a second first, and then we'll talk about things like this, all right? Shall we do that? I think that's fair. Mate, I'm here in the US. I have work, but I decided to sack it off. What the fuck? Oh, fair enough. Manuel Ugarte is close to Chelsea. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second as well. Obviously, first we need to talk about Pochettino, but we will get there as well. Laurenz, considering we want two midfielders and have signed young eights, Carney and Casadei, do we play a 4-3-3? Because we've also signed Kunku at 10. No, I don't think we'll be playing a 4-3-3, if I'm being perfectly honest, bro. Because when we signed Casadei, when we signed Carney Chukwuemeka, and we potentially had any sort of plans in mind, Pochettino had nothing to do with that. Now, I guess there is a small chance. that Pochettino doesn't go for his usual 4-2-3-1, but I think most likely he will. By the way, if you hear a sound in the background, that's my washing machine going absolutely crazy. And in a little bit's time, I need to quickly run and turn it off because otherwise we will hear beeping sounds for the whole time. So it will just take a few seconds, but for a second, I will need to get off screen. But yeah, we will get to that. Did you send me a message? No. There you go. Some way we fit Matic, Kante, and Fabregas. Same way. Well, yeah, but only two of them always played, so I'm not sure if that's the ideal thing as well. Poch rumored to think Dusan Vlahovic, I assume, is the ideal striker for him. Is that rumored? Didn't even know that was rumored. All right, Adash, I'll send you the link in a bit. I'll do a bit of this almost by myself, and then I'll send you the link. All right, bro. I agree, but don't see Ugarte or Caicedo riding bench, which confuses me. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, what people have told me, and I'm not trying to claim insider knowledge here, but more like what people that have insider knowledge have told me, rather than that it's their insider knowledge. It's like they don't really think we're going to get Ugarte and Caicedo. It's more of a case of this or the other. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. So let me make this thing a little bit bigger on... Oh, that's not what I wanted to do at all. Click the wrong button completely. Let me make this a bit bigger on the screen for you so you guys can actually see that. Did I watch Fabrizio's video? No, I haven't actually watched Fabrizio's video. I've seen all his tweets. Should I have watched his video? I guess we could watch the video together. We could do that, theoretically. I think about it. KSA, man, let me know whether you think that would be a good shout. To bring that up on screen or not. Laurenz hitting us with a 1v1. Yeah, bro. Musa, appreciate you as always, by the way. You tune in all the time, so I love that. But yeah, I could literally, I'll be straight up honest with you guys. I literally could not find anyone to come on the stream with me today. Pice, can't get a hold of him. No idea what he's doing. Charlie's at work. All sorts of people are, because it's like bank holiday, and I think in most places, early summer, late spring, whatever. People are going outside. People are doing things. So yeah, unfortunately, just me, myself, and I. I was thinking, do I wait and stream later on in the day? But then I was like, kind of pointless because I didn't even have confirmation that anyone would be allowed later on in the day. But yeah, Santiago says we cannot allow Arsenal to get Caicedo. I don't disagree, but at the same time, bro, we just finished 12th. I think we kind of have to worry about ourselves first and foremost, and worry less about other clubs in the situation. I should say goodbye to Kovacic. Yeah, maybe. Ugarte will go to PSG. Well, Zach, we will see. We will see. I think it's good, but I don't know if it's copyright. Yeah, I don't know about that either. That's my issue. Because obviously he's employed by Sky in Italy, isn't he? So they might copyright his video, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, but the problem is because Pice is doing God knows what he's doing. He hasn't even tweeted all the important bits from Fabrizio's video. Basically, see, Mitch, you're a hero. I'm going to star this. I'm going to get back to it a little bit later. All right. All right. Very good. CFC Minerals. Is this the CFC Minerals? No, it isn't. We only need one DM unless Kante leaves. But first, let's sell. Well, the problem is, bro, I think Pice is asleep, to be fair. I initially thought that when I first messaged him like 2 hours ago. But now it's 2:30 even in the UK. I've never seen Pice be asleep at 2:30, so I'm not sure. I know it's bank holiday, so it might be the case, and he didn't see this coming or whatever. And he had a long day. He came back. He texted us in the group chat that he came back at like, well, I can't remember, but it was super late by the time he came back from the game because obviously he lives quite a bit outside of London, so it took him a hot minute to get back after he was at the game. But yeah, the whole problem is obviously where does Pochettino play Kante? Does he use him as a real DM? And obviously if it's a 4-2-3-1. But yeah, also, will Kante leave? Will he stay? Who knows? But let's first and foremost, before we get into any of this other crazy business, let's talk about the Chelsea announcement. A little bit confused there, but anyway, let's just read through the Chelsea statement. Mauricio Pochettino to become Chelsea's head coach. Bit of a weird picture they used here. Why did they use such a bad quality picture? You know, when I do my thumbnails, I nowadays do my own thumbnails because the graphics guy I used to have got too busy, but he instead taught me how to do it myself. So actually beneficial to everybody again. But yeah, I've always stayed away from this picture because I thought the quality was not enough, and then Chelsea put it on their website. Shows you everything you need to know about our club at the moment, I will say. But yeah, there you go. Let's just read through it. We will get to another article by the Standard later on as well. I can't bring the Athletic article up right now because I don't have an account right now, and I have a way to read it, but then I can't stream at the same time. So yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, let's just read through it. Chelsea Football Club is pleased to confirm Mauricio Pochettino will become head coach of the men's team from the beginning of the 2023-2024 season. The Argentine will begin. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you guys can read this better. So there you go. The Argentine will begin his new role on July 1st, 2023 on a 2-year contract with a club option of a further deal. Guys, put it in the chat. Do you guys agree with me? That is a reasonable amount. It's got to be Spooner Kovacic to blow up, though. That is funny. Surprise story saying kissing Ruben goodbye. To be fair, I would. But yeah, head coach job title. Nah, bro, Isaac, you shouldn't be too upset by that. That is normal. That is understandable, especially with how many directors we have. If we now all of a sudden got a manager, that would defeat the whole director's point that we've had until now, really. But yeah, do you guys agree 2 years plus 1 year option on the club side? I think it's reasonable because, you know, obviously we gave Potter this age-long 5-year deal on like, God knows, £60 million in total. Now we didn't have to pay out the whole remaining contract for whatever reason. I don't know if it was because we were in the bottom half of the contract table or whatever when we sacked him. But yeah, I think 2 years and then we have the option for another one. But it's not a Pochettino option. I think that is pretty good. All right, let's continue with this. I'm glad that you guys seem to agree. Emin says that's fantastic. The owners learn from their mistake. I agree. Great contract tenure. I agree with that. Reasonable contract length, 2 years. That's perfect. Very good. Much better than 5 years. Better than the death row contract. I'm not going to get that one up on screen, Musa, but we appreciate your input. And the fact that it's an option probably means that if it goes wrong, this isn't part of the second conversation. No, exactly. That's the whole point of an option. That only becomes relevant if we do choose to use the option, if that makes sense. But let's continue. Laurenz Stewart and Paul Withstanley, Chelsea's co-sporting directors, said Mauricio's experience and standards of excellence, leadership, qualities and character will serve Chelsea Football Club well as we move forward. He's a winning coach who has worked at the highest levels in multiple leagues and languages. His ethos, tactical approach and commitment to development all made him the exceptional candidate. Now, not sure whether I would just say like standards of I mean, his standards might be that, I guess. But the winning coach thing, he won some things at PSG. Otherwise, I'm not sure we should deem him as the winning coach. Like, he has a lot of other positives and a lot of other pros for him. But I'm not sure we should start with winning coach. But anyways, let's move on. Here's another picture. This one is at least a little bit higher quality than the other one. Owners Todd Bowley, Benedict Barley, Jose E. Feliciano, Mark Walter, and Hans-Jörg Wyss added the sporting team conducted a diligent and thoughtful process that the board is proud of. We're delighted that Mauricio will be joining Chelsea. Mauricio is a world-class coach with an outstanding track record. Again, don't big him up too much. Now, us fans know how this works anyway, and the owners just say what they got to say. But still, let's be realistic, shall we? We are looking forward to having him on board. Pochettino is a coach renowned for his side's high energy and eye-catching style, and he has built a reputation for helping young players realize their full potential with a strong squad ethos. And this part is one of the most important bits. Why is this happening? Don't do that. Yeah, there you go. Young players realize their full potential with a strong squad ethos, because that's what we need. I mean, we were talking about, I'm not sure how many of you guys would have been here yesterday, but if you were here yesterday, that's literally what we're talking about. What Frank Lampard said post-game, that, the squad, like the intensity is there, the standards aren't there, but we're too quiet. Like he was just complaining about everything, essentially, in terms of the mentality and attitude of the squad. So, and that's one of the biggest things that I think and that I hope Poch can change. Isiah says, can Poch get me Harry Kane? Mate, I would absolutely love that if he could. Personally, I doubt it. But yeah, is me or is Laurenz narrating the funniest thing? Well, I'm glad you're entertained, mate. That is. But yeah, let me continue with this. I don't think there's that much more to it, but there you go. The 51-year-old has several seasons of Premier League experience in addition to coaching in Spain and France. He was most recently in charge at PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, and guided the club to a Ligue 1 title and the Coupe de France. Mauricio's staff would include Jesus Perez, Miguel D'Agostino, Tony Jimenez, and Sebastiano Pochettino, who, by the way, Sebastiano Pochettino is Mauricio Pochettino's son. Welcome to Chelsea, Mauricio. Guys, thoughts on the statement? What do you think? Think it's a positive one? I wouldn't listen to much of Lampard's advice. Well, while I don't fully disagree with that, I suppose, when it comes to, judging the attitude of the players, I think Lampard is quite a well-placed person to make judgment on those. If Todd and Poch pull Harry Kane to Chelsea, they might deserve a statue. Well, yeah, but, they are also letting go of Mason Mount, which I'm still annoyed by. And there was also a few reports that people in the academy are also very unhappy with that. And people in the academy are apparently on the back of this, considering leaving and all sorts. So, or considering whether they want to stay. So not only does Mount leaving, is it not a great idea for PR reasons, but also in the background, this is just not good. It's just not good. Zubair, sorry if I butchered your name. Would there be an interview? I don't think there will be an interview until July 1st, as in the statement was confirmed by Chelsea. He will start work on July 1st, not now. So not officially now, but probably to do with the gardening leave from PSG, I personally assume. But yeah, whatever that exactly may entail. But I think we'll get like more pictures and like him holding up the shirt and interviews and all of that. I think we will get all of that on July 1st, personally. What am I seeing here? His talent ID is pretty great and attitude, but managerial advice, no. No, well, yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, like I say, but we're now talking about the standards and the levels of training. As much as he should have changed something about that, I fully agree that he didn't do a good enough job. But fact of the matter is, some of these players, the players need to also take responsibility themselves. These are adults. I know we signed a lot of young players, so maybe this applies a little bit less so than it did a couple of seasons ago. But we don't have 12-year-olds here, right? So yeah, probably because of financial fair play, I think managerial contracts are included too. It's an interesting point because usually the whole financial fair play, yes, managerial contracts are included too, but obviously we didn't have to pay anything to get Pochettino. Now we might have a sign-on bonus that we give him as he joins us, I guess. But usually this topic is more about the whole financial fair play situation. It's more about when you sign players, because then you spend God knows how many millions, 50, 100, whatever, many millions. For Pochettino, it's the contract. So I guess if he started on June 1st, I'm not sure if it would be the whole first year of his wages or maybe only the first month. But maybe it's still to do with that. I still think the gardening leave is a bit more likely. But yeah, there you go. JC says, to be fair, Tuchel was not much of a winner besides his reign at PSG before coming to Chelsea, so high hopes for Poch. Yeah, fair play. And also at PSG, they won the exact same amount of trophies. Pochettino, of course, Tuchel, of course, also won the German Cup with Dortmund before yesterday, 2 days ago, winning the Bundesliga with Bayern now as well. But before joining Chelsea, he had won the DFB Pokal, the German Cup with Dortmund. But otherwise, at PSG, they won the exact same amount of trophies. Although, was Poch there for a bit longer than Tuchel, or did they have the same amount of time? I'm not 100% sure on that one, actually. We're going to need a bloody grip to announce everything on July 1st. I'm not sure what a PGOTO is. Or a grip photo. Group photo. That's probably what you meant to say. There you go. See, when Scouse people try to speak English. I hope we can win us trophies, mate. So do we all. Jordan says, hey, Laurenz. Buzzing, we got Poch. Also, what's the news on Ugarte? We'll get to that, mate. Don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, with over 240 of you here, which especially as it's just myself and it's in the middle of the day on a bank holiday. I appreciate you all. Love that from you guys. But yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Still on the road to 20,000 subscribers. I would love to make that road a bit quicker. Struggling at the moment a little bit, but please do hit the subscribe button. Every new subscriber counts. Hit that like button for me. Helps me spread these videos out to more people. Why is Mount so overrated? My question is, why is he so overhated? But yeah, I'm glad you found it funny. Do you think Poch would look at 2022-2023 preseason which caused fitness issues, and we already announced friendlies this season? Wouldn't it be better for Poch to decide where we should do preseason? No, bro, because preseason has to be planned so far in advance that you can't really do that. Like, not just travel, but like you need to organize the games, security. Like these things are announced months beforehand. Like the preseason last year, that was planned and structured and everything by Tuchel and the old regime. That wasn't the new regime doing that. So yeah. But I still get your point. 41 days from now, Chelsea versus Wrexham. We'll be there. Well, I won't be there, but I will be watching it. But yeah, let's be real, Laurenz. What's your expectations for the new season? Top 4, a cup maybe? I know a lot of Chelsea fans are always like, we expect trophies and I want us to win a cup. And I want us to win a cup. But I think it's a cup is always so dependent on the draw. Do you know what I mean? Now, obviously, because we're not in Europe now, we can focus more on those cups and play stronger 11s in the cups. But I still think, like, if we get Man City again in one of the first few rounds, Man City away, then yes, I would still like to win a cup, but it's never happy. It's never okay, but it's acceptable to lose to Man City away. They're the best team in the world. It happens, right? So I would like to say win a trophy, but it depends on the draw, I will say. And top 4, I would like to expect top 4, but before making a judgment on that, I will want to see what the squad looks like when we go into the season. Who leaves, who stays, who we sign. I want to wait until then to make a final judgment on that. Sorry, won his first ever trophy with us, to be fair. Poch, yeah, first of all, true. But Poch, of course, has already won trophies. Laurenz vacation to US for preseason. Now, if you find me a sponsor that funds that and makes that happen, I'm down. And my family might be a bit unhappy because I'm going on a family holiday in the meantime in that period. But yeah. There you go. What am I hearing here? 27 players I've counted should leave, including returning loan players. 27. To be fair, I haven't looked at all the squad loan players that are returning and how many that is. But yeah, our standards have dropped. It's acceptable to lose to City. I get what you're trying to do and memeing. I mean, you're literally called meme-made and stuff. So I get where you're coming from. But let's be serious for a minute as well. We just finished 12th, right? We just finished 12th. Our squad is full of young players that have not done anything. None of them. They're talented, but they've not done anything aside from Enzo Fernandez, realistically. Well, and if Kante stays, Kante and Thiago Silva, and with a few exceptions, but 90% of the squad have not done anything. And you compare that to Man City, who are likely to win the treble this season, right? Who have the best striker in the world, the best midfielder in the world, the best defense in the world, and one of the best goalkeepers in the world as well. Like, you can sit here and say, oh, we're Chelsea, we want to beat everyone. And yeah, we want to, but sometimes teams are better than you. And then you're an idiot for sitting there and saying, shitting on a manager again or whatever else for not, achieving it, I guess. In order 1, 2, 3, rate these managers, Ten Hag, Arteta, Pod. Boah, that's tough. Now, I don't know, Because as much as people took the piss out of Arsenal a lot this season, I do still think what Arteta has done at Arsenal is actually very impressive. Ten Hag has done a good job at United, but it's only one season, so let's see a bit longer what exactly he will do longer term. And at Ajax, he was very good at Ajax, and Ajax didn't win the league without him this season, but Poch is the only one who made a Champions League final. Poch is the only one of them that has won a top 5 league. So I would probably still put Poch top of these. But you can make a case for especially Ten Hag as well. But yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. There's a lot of messages in the chat, which I love, by the way. But I'm struggling to get to all of them. So if you want to make sure that I see one of them while I'm talking about another one, I don't miss yours, do use the super chat function. That makes it easy for me to see all of them. But yeah, DOB asks and says, what's your opinion on our preseason? The fact that we're going from state to state in the US, the players will constantly be traveling, and it could hinder the team's training fitness going forward. It's an interesting one, isn't it, DOB? Because obviously last year everyone was complaining about our preseason. And last season it was certainly worse because we were still traveling constantly, but not only were we were traveling much further distances, and we were also traveling across multiple time zones. Now, of course, it's 1 or 2 hour time zones, so not the most drastic thing in the world. It's not like we flew from fucking London to Australia, but still, it's still better this year than it was last year. Another thing I like is that we have a base camp, I think in Philadelphia, where we always go back to. So we fly out, play a game, fly back, So we still have a base camp, which I personally think is better. So I think it will be better than last year. Will it be perfect? Maybe, maybe not. It's difficult to judge. But at the same time, who isn't going somewhere abroad? Like which one of the big clubs? Everyone's going to like the US or to Asia or to, United weren't they last year, like Australia or whatever. Like if you're a big club, if you're a global club, you also kind of have to you have to do something for your global fans as well. As much as the local fans in where you're based as a football club are the most important in a way, because obviously they are there all the time and they consume on average the most. But, we have a lot of fans all over the world, including in America, especially now with American ownership. Pulisic will leave, but still Pulisic playing for us brought a lot of American, created a lot of American Chelsea fans who I'm sure some of them will also remain Chelsea fans if Pulisic leaves. So part of it is just it's part of the game. Like it's part of what you have to do. It's like when you say, shouldn't we not play every Wednesday and Saturday? Yeah, well, we shouldn't. But unfortunately, that's how football is nowadays. We have 44-man squad plus 3 signings. 20 players must leave this summer at least. But some players' contracts also run out. So, I guess that is also leaving. But on some of those, we don't actually have to do something for it. Is your spelling in 2012 Chelsea 2012? What did he spell wrong? Ten Hag, Arteta. Yes, fair play. Lavia is option 3 behind Ugarte and Caicedo. That makes sense. I still feel like it's a little bit more likely to get Ugarte and Lavia, which good players, very talented players, also a bit cheaper than Caicedo, especially with obviously Southampton having gotten relegated. I say that Caicedo is also super young, but obviously Lavia is just even younger. But yeah, it just worries me how few players with experience we will get back. So that's always a bit of a concern to me now. Players to return from loan, 8 first-team players and 12 under-21s players. Fair play. Someone asked me something about Callum. Can't see it anymore now. So I'll just scroll down to the more latest ones and then we'll go from there. It's all power with 0 pace. Only issue with Kane is his total pace. Yeah, he's not very fast. It's not very fast. I think the bigger problem over preseason is the fact that our signings will be coming in late and at different fitness levels and outgoings at the same time. A ton of turnover as Poch adjusts. On the one hand, I agree with that and saying that's an issue. At the same time, we're not going to sign that many players. Like that is part of, as much as it cost us this past season now, making as many signings as we did, both in the summer and in January. But obviously that still puts us in a position where, we will add a few players, but it's not like we're going to add 6, 7 players anymore. We're going to add 3 or 4. So this is much more, manageable than it would be if it was a bigger number of signings. Santos ain't nowhere near ready. He's not even better than Carney or Casada. He needs a couple of loans. Have you watched him a lot, Mitch? I don't know. I'm not willing to make a full judgment on that. But also, I would say he plays a different position to, in particular, Carney. I think Casada is a bit more versatile, can play further forward and further back. But Casada is having a phenomenal under-20s World Cup, to be fair to him. Not sure what Santos has necessarily done there yet, but as we're expecting at this point to get Strasbourg, to buy stakes in Strasbourg to make, start a multi-club model situation, and maybe also Rio Ave from in Portugal. So I feel like we're going to put Andre Santos into one of those places. Ladies and gentlemen, please give me just 1 second. Literally, please do not go anywhere. I'm checking this number. 266 people right now. Better none of you will have gone anywhere. I will be back in 2 seconds. I just need to turn off my washing machine because otherwise we will hear it beeping in the background. Maybe the mic won't even pick it up, but I will hear it and it will distract me. So I'll be back in a second. None of you left. None of you left. Well done. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all very, very much. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. What am I hearing here? I'll be fine with Ugarte and Lavia, but we need to for sure. I agree we need to. Well, I guess part of it still depends on the amount of outgoings. Obviously, a lot of us are sure that, Kovacic will leave and that Mount will leave and that. Who else is leaving? Well, in my opinion, hopefully Gallagher leaves, but obviously he's slightly a different position anyways, in particular in a 4-2-3-1. But yeah, I agree we probably need to. Do you think Hudson-Odoi should leave if both Pulisic and Ziyech leaves? It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, okay, let's think about it for a second. Who do we have? We've got Mudryk, we've got Sterling, we've got Manuel Ugarte. Those are our three real wingers, assuming that Pulisic and Ziyech leave. Obviously, Joao Felix could stay. He then is a winger option at times. We don't know what happens with Havertz. He could be a right winger option. But also we have youngsters like Omari Hutchinson. Are we going to send him on loan? If we don't, could he be a backup? I see what you're saying, JC, in terms of maybe Hudson-Odoi could be an option to keep as a backup player. But more so because will we find anyone to want to buy him? Because he's had one of the worst loans you could ever imagine. He went to a good team in Leverkusen. They were struggling early, but then Xabi Alonso took over and had a great run with them. And 90% of the Hudson-Odoi spent on the bench. So difficult one for him. What am I saying? Hopefully he doesn't pull a Tuchel and bring Deadwood over our future like Kennedy Barkley over Gilmour and Hall. Yeah, completely. Don't call me deluded, but I have had a feeling we will win the Premier League next season. Well, I mean, I hope you're right, I suppose. I hope you are right. I did want to post that in more groups, but hey, here's what it is now. There was... Can I bring this up now? Not really. I guess what we could do quickly, I mean, we've gone through the thing on screen now, but let me get this off it. But it was quite funny how Chelsea did their usual thing as they started last January, or was it last summer already? Where 5 minutes before making the official announcement, they just posted an Argentina flag, and then obviously we got the announcement with the statement that we spoke about already. Shall we quickly also go through, as much as I haven't read through Pochettino's, as I haven't watched Pochettino's video, Fabrizio's video. Let's scroll through Fabrizio's tweets on Pochettino. So initially, 3 hours before that, 3 hours ago now, and I hadn't actually seen it. I was talking to my girlfriend. I was like, nah, I feel like the announcement won't come today because The Athletic and all sorts of other outlets were releasing post-season articles. And I was like, surely they'd know if the announcement is happening today and then they wouldn't release those articles. But I had missed that one. So, yeah, Fabrizio initially told Chelsea announcement to unveil Pochettino as new head coach is now imminent, matter of hours. Pochettino signed a contract valid from July 1st and he will be until June 2026, which is good. But obviously, June 2026 only with that extra option from the club. So it's initially a 2-year deal like we discussed earlier. Official, confirmed, Mauricio Pochettino has been appointed as new Chelsea head coach on contract until 2026. New chapter for Poch in England, deal valid starting from June 1st. Chelsea owners, I mean, we kind of discussed all of that already, but Pochettino is a world-class coach with an outstanding track record. We're all looking forward to having him on board. Chelsea confirmed that Pochettino's staff will include Jesus Perez. We discussed that as well. Like I say, Sebastiano Pochettino is his son. Jesus Perez, I think, is the main kind of fitness guy, but I think that all of them have knowledge and strengths in the fitness side of things. To clarify once again, Spurs have never approached Pochettino this year. He never turned down Tottenham. There were never concrete talks. An interesting one because I think someone had some sort of Tottenham meeting, some higher up at Tottenham was saying that Poch apparently was waiting for their call. It just never came, and that's why he's at Chelsea now. Yeah. believe what you will, Tottenham. Believe what you will. But yeah, Fabrizio goes on to say Poch is excited about Chelsea's project as he can't wait to build future of the club. But yeah, and then we've got some other news that don't really apply to us. So I guess we'll get that back off the screen. But yeah, I mean, what do we expect? Shall I just bring on this article? And it's off the standard, so it's not the best one, even though I do quite like him, as I can tell, as much as he has some issues sometimes. But let's read through this and see if we can find some interesting discussions out of it as well. I think it will be quite good. Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea in trade. Fitness issues and squad harmony among problems incoming boss must fix. Former Tottenham manager has agreed a deal to take over at Stamford Bridge. Mauricio Pochettino is officially the new manager of Chelsea, and he is immediately tasked with fixing a club in disarray. Here, Standard Sport takes a look at his crammed in-tray at Stamford Bridge. Get forwards firing. Scoring goals has been a major issue for Chelsea, and boy, has it. Thomas Tuchel, Graham Potter, and now Frank Lampard have all failed to get their attack to click. Chelsea managed just 38 goals in the Premier League and finished the season with a club record low number of goals. Pochettino turned Tottenham into a brilliant attacking team, and he will need to get a tune out of the wealth of attacking talent at the club. After spending more than £200 million on attacking players this season, Chelsea could go back into the transfer market to sign a striker, which would help. So, guys, do you think he will just fix those things? Do you think he will just actually manage? Oh, I should probably do this one. No, that one, so you can read it a bit better. Do you think he will be able to fix our attacking issues? Because, and I was talking about this yesterday, at the moment, it's a case of when we have a proper striker, well, I say at the moment, we haven't really had that this season, but going back to last season under Thomas Tuchel, the times when Lukaku was playing, then we struggled to create chances, even though we had a guy that could have taken the chances. And then when we played with Havertz, and that then also applied on the Tuchel, but also on the Potter, and even now on the Frank, when we played with Havertz, we usually tended to be, I'm not saying amazing, but better at creating chances. Not necessarily that he created them, but his movement and him dropping between the lines helped, because we struggled to make that happen from midfield, helped us create overloads that helped us create chances. But then we didn't have anyone in the box to finish the chances. So it was a whole back and forth that never really worked out. So I most certainly agree that, you know, that's Pochettino's biggest task, really, alongside obviously getting the attitude and the fitness back up. And we'll just have to wait and see how he can fix it, I guess. They had Kane and Son, to be fair. That is true. But, you know, we have Mudryk. So, you know, I still firmly believe in Mudryk, and I still firmly believe that Mudryk can be our Heung-min Son. Yeah, I firmly believe that. Absolutely. I want us to get Caicedo. Yeah, Hamza, fair play. Fair play. Sorry, let me just take a drink. This is when I'm streaming by myself and I need to take a drink, and I do sometimes. I can't talk. No one's talking then. So please bear with me. I'm trying to at least read comments while this is happening. I think sometimes also you guys in the chat seem to be having discussions with between each other, which is sometimes difficult for me to follow. So please do excuse me. What am I saying here? Aaronson is awful. I'm not sure why you're talking about Aaronson, but sure. Mudryk has done nothing. No, it's true. He's done nothing so far, but he might still, and I believe. We have the Hulk. We have Mudryk. Well, not sure about that one. But yeah, is Spice asleep or something? Mate, I have no idea. Has he messaged me yet? Nope. It's not messaged me yet. I have no idea what Pice is doing. Absolutely no clue. But let's continue with this article. Decide which players he wants and repair. Shall I zoom in a bit more so you guys can see this better? Probably. Decide which players he wants and repair squad harmony. Chaotic recruitment under Todd Bowley and Clear Lake Capital has left Chelsea with an obvious issue. They have too many players. Oh boy, we do. And their £600 million transfer spend has so far been a footballing disaster. At Cobham, players are getting changed in corridors due to a lack of dressing room space for their 32-man squad. Come on, Nizar, this is not actually factually correct. It's not actually a corridor. It's not the main dressing room, that is true, but it's a little other side room. It's not actually the corridor. But anyway, morale and team spirit is thought to be at an all-time low, and players signed for huge transfer fees and on big wages are failing to make squads or being frozen out. Oh, yeah? Who's that happened to? But anyway, Chelsea are set for a summer clear out, and one of Pochettino's first jobs must be deciding which players he wants with him and be ruthless in shifting ones he wants to offload. He did just that at Spurs when he came. He quickly dispensed of Yunus Kabul, Emmanuel Adebayor, and Etienne Capoue. All right, London film quiz. Kai Havertz, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Conor Gallagher, Christian Pulisic, Hakim Ziyech, Khalid Koulibaly, Cesar Azpilicueta, Edo Armeni, Trevor Chalobah, and Mateo Kovacic all face uncertain futures. So too, does Mason Mount, who has a year left on his deal, could join Liverpool or Manchester United. Alongside getting the team to score, I think getting rid of the right players and the necessary amount of players is crucial, absolutely crucial. And I really, really hope that we manage to get that done ASAP. Like literally throughout June, we're going to just need to get it done. Cody, I mean, yeah, fair enough. I mean, if you're a Chelsea fan, just don't be so negative all the time. Don't be so pessimistic. At least give him a bit more of a realistic chance. He had fucking Potter in a dreadful spell and then Lampard. It doesn't get worse than that. I mean, but yeah, there you go. Of course, we're getting a Kunku from Leipzig. Close enough, but fair enough. Isn't he a striker? Not as such. I personally wouldn't want him up front as a single striker. Now, part of a front two, sure, but I don't expect us to play a front two under Pochettino, so I think he will more be used as a 10 behind a striker. That obviously is an attacking 10, not like a deep 10 that is more part of a midfielder. He's more like, like Mason Mount is a type of 10 that would be more in an ideal world until Tuchel turn him into more of an attacker. But it's more of a 10 that is part of a midfield, like Gallagher as well. Just Mount a lot better, of course. And then Kunku is more of a 10 that's more part of a second striker, if that makes sense. Osimhen and Ugarte, yeah, bro, Toba. My only problem is, will we get Osimhen? Number one, really expensive. Number two, we have no European football. The only chance I see us in getting Osimhen now, he apparently wants to go to the Premier League and he likes Chelsea because Didier Drogba was and is his idol. But we're not in the Champions League. If Man United want him, I know they want Harry Kane, but we've seen before that a lot of clubs always want Harry Kane and he doesn't end up going anywhere still. And then we'll have to wait and see whether we can get Osimhen or not. Obviously, I'd be happy with it, but yeah, there you go. It's clear we need to buy a new goalkeeper. What goalkeeper do you think we should get? Well, I want us to get Mike Maignan, but that's not happening because it's too expensive. And then I don't know. There's Andre Onana, who's okay. I think maybe a tiny bit better than Kepa, but I would say similar level personally. So I'm not sure about the upgrade. The only thing you could maybe argue is we could give him lower wages than Kepa is on. But that only applies if Kepa leaves, because there is talk also that Mendy is everybody's expecting Mendy to leave, but there's a chance that Kepa stays and we buy a new goalkeeper and maybe Kepa is back to being backup goalie. Steven Jackson, I would appreciate if you wouldn't use all caps. Everybody else is capable of, speaking normally, so please, you also speak normally. I won't just look at and highlight all caps messages more than the others. And otherwise, maybe someone like Keylor Navas as a stopgap option. Do I rate Keylor Navas that highly? No. Do I actually think he's that much better than Kepa? I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure on what I think about that. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Bayern things have kicked off, so you never know. Manuel Neuer come back from injury. Should we do a Thiago Silva with Manuel Neuer? I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to see about the goalie situation. I'd like Mike Maignan, but it won't happen, in my opinion. We were linked with Lautaro too. Yes, we were. Let's see if that happens. Apparently, that was a Poch target, so that's an interesting one. But yeah, let me continue with this article, and then we move on to more of your comments, guys. I mean, to be fair, that was kind of most of that already. But yeah, we need to get rid of so many players. And this isn't even close to all of them, even including Mount. It's not even close to all of them. But the next bit is also a hugely important bit. Initially I said, this is the most important thing. No, all of these things have been hugely important so far. Address fitness issues. In a startling admission last month, Lampard admitted Chelsea players are not fit enough. They are being outrun by their Premier League rivals, and mismanagement behind the scenes has resulted in poor fitness levels in the squad. Impressive running distances have been a feature of Pochettino's teams at his previous clubs, and his assistant, Jesus Perez, see, as I told you earlier, he's the main guy for fitness, will work closely with the Chelsea medical department to ensure the players are in the best possible physical condition. There have also been injury problems at Chelsea this season, which need to be addressed, and Mount and Reece James were recently ruled out for the season. All right, this is a weird article that clearly was written a while back. I just waited to be released today. But yeah, this is one of the other huge thing that we need to change immediately. And I know, and first of all, I'm not a medical expert by any means. I'm not a fitness expert by any means. But yeah, absolutely. But I still we just need to somehow fix this problem. Again, I don't know how, but we need to fix this problem. Guys, you tell me, by the way, do you prefer this one or this one? I guess on this one you can't really see, I guess. But then again, if I'm reading it out, does it matter to you guys? You let me know which of these camera things you prefer. You let me know about that. But Yeah, we need to just fix this fitness issues. We need to be fitter, but being fitter, number one, means we will compete better in games, but it will also should mean at least, we get less injuries, especially these muscle injuries, because it's honestly been insane this season. I mean, Reece James, maybe I want to take out of that because he's had muscle injury problems for a while, but, well, Danny, you're not first at all, but sure. But like Sterling recently had a muscle injury. Badiashile has muscle injuries right now. Cucurella has a muscle injury right now. Chilwell has a muscle injury right now. Okay, we let him off a bit more because he just had a news on Chelsea Dodgers. Yeah, all right, I'll look it up in a second. Of course, Chilwell had that ACL injury, so that makes other injuries after that always a bit more likely and everything. So I understand that, but you know what I mean. Don't know as we have pedigree, but does PSG not have pedigree? I don't know. We have Premier League. That's our thing. Pice is awake. Oh, look at this. Pice has joined us. Hello, Pice. How you doing, bro?
Yo, what's good?
Were you sleeping? We were all wondering what you were doing.
Yeah, I was I was out and then I went for a nap, so yeah.
Hey, so it happens, man. So it happens. I was like, Pice is missing all the good stuff.
I know, I missed the announcement.
Yeah, exactly. I missed all the crazy stuff. But yeah, appreciate you for popping in anyways. Appreciate that very much. We're just going through this standard article. I would have liked to go through the Athletic one, but I currently don't have an Athletic account. And the way to still read it, I can do, but then the stream doesn't work. So we're going through this as they're just talking about the most important things. But yeah, to be honest, there's not much more to add on that. I guess we get through the next one and then I let Pice's thoughts take over for a minute. The next part of the article is trust the academy. Morale in the academy is also at an all-time low, with players being signed from overseas to fill spots in the under-21s and a host of young signings in the first team on 8-year contracts. The academy building at Cobham risks being devalued by the chaos at the club as youngsters no longer feel appreciated. Pochettino brought through a young Harry Kane and Dele Alli at Tottenham and must build some bridges to show pathways for the youngsters, which I absolutely agree with, but at the right time and with the right players, like not just force it, you know? But the problem is all the good ones are seemingly leaving right now. Obviously, you'll have your Lewis Hall, but I'm thinking like maybe it's still better for Lewis Hall to get a loan rather than being the first team, just for him to have a bigger chance of being a mainstay in the first team after a loan. But yeah, and then he goes on to say, reunite the club and the fans, of course. I mean, I said my piece on Drogba at the time. I still don't think that was smart of him to do that publicly. But anyway, Chelsea legend Didier Drogba claimed, I no longer recognize my club in a scathing attack on Bowley and Clearlake following last month's defeat by Real Madrid. It is a feeling shared by many supporters, and the charismatic Pochettino needs to get everyone pulling in the same direction like he did at Spurs. As well as showing competence in the dugout, he needs to engage with fans and provide some fighting talk. Pice, I'll bring the initial statement up, and then I'll check what other tweets there might be or whatever that I might have missed in this meantime, because now I have a second person talking, so I can do things at the same time. Because while I'm by myself, it's just me talking, so it's like, how can I do other things? But yeah, I'm sure you read the statement. Contract 2 years plus an option of 1 on a club side. It's great, that, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, when I was like when there was rumors about him, you know, signing the contracts and agreeing everything, I was saying I hope it was not going to be like another 5 or 6 year contract, because I think doing a 2+1 gives you that sort of leeway to make a change if he does really bad. So, you know, I think it just shows an understanding as well of, like, you know, they know there's a certain risk because of, you know, the Chelsea and Spurs connection and that sort of thing. But it'll be up to Pochettino to sort of, you know, alleviate any concerns with the fans. I think, you know, his interviews are going to be very important whenever he does one. And yeah, just needs to have a really good start, to be fair. I mean, the good thing is like, because we've finished 12th, it's like, it's really kind of impossible to get worse than the season we've just had. So in some senses, it's like anything is kind of an improvement. But yeah, no, we want to be, you know, after this summer, because I'm sure we're going to make some more good signings, get rid of the squad, you know, we want to be pushing for that top 4 next season, especially with, you know, the 1 game a week. So yeah, you know, I think it's good that we've got a 2+1 year, and that 2+1 year is only the 1 year is like an option as well, so we don't even have to take it up. So yeah, that's really good.
I agree. I absolutely agree. What am I saying here? I mean, I'm not sure what you have tweeted yet, Pice. What you've tweeted yet since working out. Let me just see.
Nothing really.
Okay.
I literally I got my phone on and I was like, oh shit! Like everything just exploded. I need to go through everything. There's been like 15 articles. I hate it when that happens because I'm usually on top of everything.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I was like, it came out and I saw nothing from Price, and I was like, I texted you like, you don't have to stream like ASAP, especially like first I did it when that Argentina thing came, and because I'm not sure if you even clocked that. So Chelsea tweeted the Argentina flag emoji.
Oh, I didn't even see that. But...
Yeah, at 5 minutes to 2 UK time. No, 5 minutes to 1 UK time, and then at 1 they announced it. So only 5 minutes before, but when they put that Argentina thing out, I thought, yeah, in a couple of hours or whatever, because Fabrizio earlier in the day said that it's a matter of hours or whatever. But still, then I texted you, yeah, you're available to stream and short notice, whatever, when it happens later. And then all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, the fucking announcer was there. And I was like, well, we need to figure out here. But yeah, I mean, Pice, obviously, you and me, we've been sat here on many streams, and you've done plenty of reading and, talking on your own podcast and stuff as well, and on your website in terms of what to expect of Poch. But now that it's announced, obviously he will officially only start work on July 1st. But are you excited by it? Are you still kind of hesitant? Like, what are the feelings? Because I've kind of gone from all over the place, I'll be honest. When the link came out, I was like, absolutely no chance. Leave me alone with this Spurs guy. Don't want anything to do with that. And then obviously, first of all, I did a bit more research on it because I'll be honest, like, I focus on Chelsea. I don't necessarily always know everything that goes on at all the other football clubs as well. So I wasn't necessarily like, okay, how many young players did he bring through? Obviously, I knew that he made the Champions League final and that they were in a title race, which in the end they kind of bottled and stuff. But in terms of, I didn't really know the exact details. And the more I read up on it, the more I'm like, okay, he was at Spurs, but the guy does do good things and has done good things, which I do like. And especially, in my opinion, seem to suit the kind of squad that we have right now in terms of a lot of young players, a lot of very talented players. And also the fact that he's so high on the whole attitude and running and fitness. I think all of those things are just kind of what our squad and team needs right now. So all of those things have kind of gotten me from absolutely no way to being kind of a little bit excited, but I'm also a little bit hesitant to get too excited because I don't want to get too excited to then, get my hopes up to then be massively disappointed again, like I was with Potter and others,
Yeah, to be honest, I'm excited for pre-season. I'm always excited for a pre-season, especially with a new coach. I'm excited to see what he does in just terms of like how we want. Well, we know kind of an idea of how we want to play, obviously, but just like it's a fresh change. So there's obviously going to be changes within that, and I'm excited to see what he does in terms of like, as you said, the fitness. How does he control, just everything really, like. Players moaning and stuff like that, because I'm sure there's going to be that, at some point. I'm excited to see how he works with the people higher up as well, because I don't know if you saw yesterday, but I was a bit confused and concerned because Lampard said that in his interview, Chelsea's fifth stand up, he said that it was harder than I thought working behind the scenes, like. People were like, "Oh, I'm surprised the media team let that out." So I'm excited to see just how he works with the people higher up, I guess, and how much he has to do, as well as coaching. We need the standards back. He needs to be ruthless as well. He can't let players walk all over him. Because I just did have a feeling Graham Potter was doing that at times with the amount of stories that came out. It's going to be interesting. I don't think just because he's at Spurs that means he's not ruthless and that sort of thing. So we'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of waiting and just seeing how it plays out, in my opinion. Because as much as we've seen him at Spurs, we don't know that much about him. Like, to be honest with you, like it's not. We've seen him in the Premier League for years, but we don't follow Spurs. We don't follow their stories, so we don't know tons about him, and I definitely didn't follow him at PSG. So
yeah. No, exactly. I couldn't agree more, really. Like I say, I mean, preseason is an exciting one. Obviously, it's still a little bit of a. I know you've just only joined now, but I think it's still about time we get into this little transfer rumor that's making bigger and bigger moves right now. I will bring up the first one, and I even asked Rob to come on. Unfortunately, he was unavailable, but he came out, and again, I'm not sitting here to say this is factually going to be true. Now you can see the Fabrizio part underneath, which came out 11 hours ago. Understand Manuel Ugarte has been approved as target also by Chelsea. Coach Mauricio Pochettino. Chelsea are pushing in talks with club and player side. Jorge Mendes is on it as well. PSG proposal, of course, is still valid and on the table. Rob, RJP Journalism, says, and again, I'm not claiming that he's the most relevant source, but I'm just stating it to you, and then we'll just see what happens. But at least you know what is being reported, regardless of the necessarily validation of all sorts of sources. I understand further to this that Chelsea have reached an agreement with Ugarte and his agent over personal terms. The remaining point is still structured. CFC reluctant to trigger termination clause in one payment and would prefer a staggered deal. Now, Pies, I'm not going to ask you, do you think this is true or do you know if this is true? Johnny's not happy with me? Johnny who? What's Johnny said? Sorry, guys. Now that I've got Pies here and I'm doing 3 things on the screen again. Oh, yeah, Adash, I was supposed to send you a link as well, wasn't I? I will do that now. Sorry, bro, I forgot again. But yeah, I find this slightly contradicting, though, because, well, slightly contradicting to other outlets, because I thought the situation was to hell with Johnny. Because I thought we were at a point where seemingly Jorge Mendes has talked Sporting into accepting not getting the release clause triggered in one go, but not just from us, but also from PSG. But now he says we reached personal agreements, which I thought that was the issue. The player needs to choose. That's what Fabrizio basically said. And if we have personal terms agreed, doesn't that mean he chose us?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't know if it's true, but you know, I think it was interesting. Like I don't know, like even Fabrizio has been tweeting a lot more about Chelsea and Ugarte than Chelsea and PSG. Obviously, last night, you know, he's saying been approved as a target, and I tweeted that, and he replied that Chelsea had been pushing like a lot over the weekend. So I don't know. I think it just goes back to that, like, that point I was making when, you know, I was a little bit worried about, you know, Chelsea and PSG, but I said, like, this ownership, like, they seem to, when we go for a target, they seem to always get in there and just like do it, and that's what I've really liked. You know, they seem to just get in there, get dirty, and get it done. And I think, I don't know, I think we will get it done. You know, just because how much we're pushing for him. So yeah, I mean, if he's been improved by Pochettino as well, I think, you know, that's a good sign, obviously. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I don't think it will take long either, because I read the Record Portugal's Record Portugal. They're an outlet. I read their report. I think it was last night or maybe the day before, and they said, like, I got someone to get through the paywall, and they said basically that Ugarte doesn't want to take too long to make his decision because he wants to let Sporting basically like reinforce the midfield with the money and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully he chooses soon, and you know, if Rob's right, then great.
Yeah, exactly. That's all we can hope. I'm not, and if Rob's wrong, I'm not trying to say, oh, you were wrong, because I think Adash made an interesting point here. Let me just highlight it before, if he does join. It could be that personal terms has to do with just with wages and length of contract, as opposed to picking us. We might be willing to offer what he wants, but he could still choose PSG. I guess that could theoretically be the case, but yeah, I don't know. I'm still like, initially, I mean, remember Pies a couple of days ago when that report first came out that he has to choose, and I replied to your tweet saying, like, I fully expect him to choose PSG, and you said the same. I'm not sure if this has changed a little bit now. I guess from my perspective, I haven't really seen many of the PSG sides of this report, so I don't really know what there is, like what the position from those kind of sources and from that kind of perspective is. But there's been more and more reports that's at least made me at least a little bit more confident. Would you agree with that part? I mean, you will know this much better if Simon Jones from the Mail is any good or not, but he says Chelsea have open talks with Sporting Lisbon for midfielder Manuel Ugarte. Not that we didn't know that already, but anyway. Chelsea wants a holder to play alongside Enzo Fernandez, and also have checked on Romelu Lavia, Yusuf Fofana, and the most expensive or more expensive Moises Caicedo. But have you at least also come to the conclusion or to the point where you're like at least a little more confident that we might be able to get him than a couple of days ago?
Yeah, I'm definitely more confident just because of the more reports that are coming out, and I think it's gaining more traction, especially on Chelsea's side. So, Yeah, I mean, there could be a twist in PSG, just agree, and it happens like that. But yeah, Simon Jones is all right. But I don't know. Fabrizio said that Caicedo's still on the list in his YouTube video. I've got to put that out in a bit. But yeah, I think I was going to
Yeah,
do it.
because I didn't actually get round to watching that, but Mitch told me this earlier that in Fab's video, his tone changes positively when he mentions Caicedo to us, which I found quite interesting. And now
Yeah,
you
I mean, I'll watch it in a bit after the stream. But
you haven't watched it either, because I wasn't sure if I get copyright issues if I watch it on stream or not, so I chose not to so far. But
yeah, I don't know. I'd probably just
because it's contracted to Sky and everything. So yeah.
But yeah, Yusuf Fofana is from Monaco, and I mean, I can see that because of what's his name, Laurenz Stewart, maybe. But yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I'm more confident than a couple of days ago, though.
Yeah, I do like this. I mean, how many more Fofanas do we want? I would quite like the idea if we had a team of 11 Fofanas. That'd be quite fun. Or like Adash, and I'll let you speak as well in a second, bro. Fofana at the back, Fofana in the middle, Fofana in attack. That is quite funny, to be fair, because then we literally would have one Fofana midfielder, one Fofana defender, and one Fofana attacker. But Adash, I know we're now more on the topic of Ugarte, but to take it back to Poch as well. Happy, excited, positive? How you feeling with the announcement at least being made? As much as we will only get interviews and pictures and stuff like that on July 1st, I assume.
Yeah, obviously excited. New kind of era, a little bit more positivity and a little bit more certainty now that we have Poch in and kind of like fully announced. There's no other business that could be happening. I think he's going to be very active behind the scenes. I think it's all going to be like behind the scenes work that he's been doing up till now and then up till July 1st. And then after that, we might see a little bit more of him kind of talking to the media, talking to the press. But yeah, I mean, overall, just excited, keeping up some of the positivity. I think Bertram gave us a lot of positivity from yesterday, so I'm trying to carry it forward.
Very good. Big up, Bertram. You know what I should bring up as well, as I'm kind of on it anyway, with all these kind of news bits. Let me get up that Dubois thing. Where is it? Because I like this tweet yesterday. I replied to him as well. Dubois always here to, give us a little bit of hope. Where is it? He tweets a bit too much about Giroud and PSG for my Giroud and Milan for my personal preference. Bloody hell, where's this tweet? There it is. My guy tweets too much. But anyway, shout out to Bois. Let me bring this up. If on the talk of positivity, Adash, in 15-16, when Chelsea finished 10th mid-table, their last win of the season was in game week 34 against Bournemouth. We won the league the following season. Chelsea's last win this season, game week 34 against Bournemouth. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're winning the league next year. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about one bit. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll be quite good now before we round this one out, because I know Pice and in particular Adash have only just joined us, but I don't really know what else there is to talk about now because we kind of covered most bits now. So get a few of your questions in the chat, whether it's super chat, obviously ideally super chat, but if you can't afford that or don't want to, fair enough. But I might just miss your message then. But yeah, put some questions, some things to talk about in the chat. Unless, Pice, is there anything? Obviously, I know you didn't see everything that necessarily happened, but also in terms of last night, I guess I can bring up that Mount walking across Stamford Bridge. That, to me, sad. I'm not sure, Pice, if you saw that report also on... don't want the sound, all right. That apparently some people in the academy are rather unhappy with the whole, like the man might be leaving, and now apparently some people in the academy, and I don't think that meant players, I think that meant staff, are considering whether they even want to stay and stuff. That's not ideal. Like, I know you're not necessarily one of those guys that are like, he must stay, even though you wouldn't necessarily be against him staying. But when I see this, and you also saw him walk next to Chile a little bit earlier as he walked down the tunnel, and Chile kind of patting his back, to me, it couldn't be more obvious that he's leaving. But if this has background, what is the word? Effects, I guess, and consequences as well, it's not ideal then, is it? Like, we're already in a position where seemingly the academy don't really see the pathway right now because we signed so many young players and everything. If that gets even worse, it's not exactly ideal, is it?
No, yeah, it's very interesting yesterday, to be fair. The whole lap of appreciation. Obviously, Ruben Loftus-Cheek coming off, that was clearly a goodbye. But yeah, Mount, I mean, I don't know. It's just it's sad, definitely, but I think I don't know. I think it's gonna hit more people now that this actually happened and stuff like that. Like it's gonna be very strange to see him in another kit.
Yeah, very strange.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully there's something can change. I don't know. I've got a slimmer of hope, but yeah, it definitely did look like a goodbye. And yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. I love it how Mendy's just on the phone there, just like in that
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
Mendy's another one. Mendy got a really good reception yesterday. At the end, he was like,
Isn't
putting
it
his
weird
hands
how
up.
Mendy, obviously for winning us the Champions League, gets this great reception, but Havertz is hated by everyone? I find that weird. Like, again, I have no problem if you don't like. Well, I do find it weird if people don't like Havertz too
I
much.
will
But I'm
say
like, fair
though,
enough. If you think he should go, that's okay. But
I will
I just
say,
find it weird. Why hate one and not like what?
I will say though, goalkeepers especially, and I noticed this because the Matthew Harding obviously the lower. They obviously the goalies, you see the goalie and speak to the goalie and stuff like you can shower him that much more. So obviously he comes across and
I think
especially at half
that's a good
time.
point you make, actually.
At half time, everyone claps him, and usually Mendy or Kepa, they like turn around and clap before they go in and stuff. So there's definitely always a connection built there with any goalie. I think that's why we hate Courtois so much because of Matthew Harding lower, mate. When Courtois came back both times, fucking hell, it was mental. So yeah, there's definitely a connection with the goalies for sure that's built in the Matthew Harding section at least.
I do agree. Adash, your thoughts? I'm not sure if we touched on it yesterday, really, but it is sad when you see that, isn't it? Like, it's like I think maybe not everyone will find it sad, I guess, but I think it's. I mean, some people, we can scroll through the replies. Some people found it hilarious. These people saying he was offered 285K a week. I've not seen that reported by anyone, especially a specific number like that. No idea where that is supposed to have come from. Someone says so sad to see, but there's been plenty. Why? If Mason wants to stay, no one is stopping him. We'll see. Well, where's all the man? Why is it sad? Should get the hell out. Like, so clearly not. Are you sure? There's clearly not everyone agrees, but I find it sad. I don't know. Like, I know especially some fans from like tend to be more from like abroad. I guess they're like, oh, they sometimes they almost hate how much the academy players are liked. But if a player's been here since he's 8, of course I'm gonna like that player. Like, he's been here since he's 8. Like, To me, that's obvious. Maybe it's not to everyone, and that's fair enough. But to me, that's obvious, and that makes it sad.
Yeah, I myself, I'm from abroad. I was supposed to go for a Chelsea game, but then the game got moved, so I've never actually been to a Chelsea game in my life. But I still have that connection with the academy because that is the academy is a part of Chelsea, so it's just like an extension, and it shows how much they have the connection with the club, and then we as fans have connections with the club, so that builds that natural bond. I think, at least for me in my case, I think, yeah, I mean, it's really sad to see, but at this point, like, it's just been belabored so much, and it's been like so like bipolarized. It's been so polarizing that I guess I'm just like resolve it one way or another. I want him to stay, but if he doesn't, like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I've kind of like resigned myself to it so that if he signs, if some miracle happens and he signs, then I'll be like extra happy. But if he doesn't sign, then I'll just be like, okay, this is what I expected.
Okay, sorry, I just want to highlight this comment. In life, no limits. He says, Laurenz, that's not the point. It's the way Mason Mount stands talk about him like he's KDB levels. He's a good player, yes, but he has refused to sign. Come on. See, but this is what annoys me. People need to start separating fans of someone. Mason Mount is not at fault for some of his stands being over the top. That's not Mount's fault. Mount hasn't sat there and said he's as good as Kevin De Bruyne. Mount isn't telling his fans to like shit on others. That's not Mount's fault. Like, you can have a problem with Mason Mount's stance. That's fair enough. I'm not a big fan of Johnny either. Like, I'm not, because I think he's a ridiculous man. But that's nothing to do with Mount himself, though. Those are two different things. I think that's important to mention that. There's been a report now, seemingly also from the Mail. Not sure by which reporter in particular, but apparently Lewis Hall is being monitored by Crystal Palace to make explore a loan deal for the Chelsea youngster before the end of the summer. We were talking about this yesterday, Pice. Obviously, you weren't there, but to me, I would obviously love a Prem loan, but only if he's going to be guaranteed to play. Because I sometimes fear as an 18-year-old, if a Prem club loans you out, and at 18, you're never gonna be guaranteed to start. So that's my only worry if we send him to a Prem club. But if we get a Prem club that guarantees minutes, ideal, no? And I know, and he's been played so well recently that honestly, you could even consider keeping him in the squad as a valid starting option and as a valid squad option. But I still think for his own development, it would be better to go on loan, though. Would you agree, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I also think we need to decide on his position long term, whether he's going to be a left back or a midfield. I mean, ideally left back, because I think if he develops that defensive aspect, especially awareness and stuff with runners, I think he could be a really, really good left back, to be fair. I mean, he's definitely really good going forward and he's good on the ball. So, yeah, I think, develop him a little bit more as well. Out on loan would be good. Wouldn't mind if he stays, but we got so many left backs, right, to sort out. We don't know what's going to happen with Martin and Cucurella. So, Chilwell's obviously going to stay. But, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. Palace, obviously, Ruben had a loan at Palace, did really well. But Palace are in a
Gallagher as well. As much as they didn't really help.
Yeah, Gallagher, of course. Yeah. We don't know about Palace at the moment because we don't know whether Roy Hodgson's going to stay on or what. So, but yeah, it'd be interesting. I think this is from Simon Jones as well. So something to monitor maybe as the weeks go on.
There you go. But otherwise, is there much in terms of news? Still, obviously, the Caicedo bit, we kind of touched on it, that Fabrizio kind of hinted at it, but we haven't watched the video yet. It's just apparently a bit more positive. But yeah, it's difficult for me because still everything just relies and depends on who leaves. And one last thing to ask you, Pies, and then I'll take this one to Adash as well. The season's now ended and we still know nothing on Kante. Now, was it you that tweeted yesterday that apparently some fan asked Kante, "You'll see you next season?" And he said, "We'll see." Now it's obviously Kante. Whenever I'm not sure if it's because he's shy, but he's never sounded like he was best capable of English. So I'm not sure if we should take Kante's every word literal in a sense like this. But that's weird. Not necessarily that we haven't heard anything from the club, but that no one's reporting on it. Kante is one of the most successful midfielders in history of football. And seemingly no one really cares whether he's staying or leaving or what's happening. His contract runs out at the end of, well, not the end of this month, but at the end of June. No, unlike with Mount, who we would have to sell and stuff, and Kovacic, all of these guys have a contract. So in theory, we could still decide to keep them and just not sell them right now. But Kante, there needs to be a decision soon. I just find it weird that no one's talking about it.
Well, yeah, I was going to do a post last night. I was thinking about our midfielders. I was thinking, so Mount's going to leave, Kovacic is leaving, Gallagher might be a part of the exodus of the whole get money for the academy players. Loftus-Cheek's leaving, Kante might leave. We're going to need fucking 4 midfielders, not 2 or 1. Jesus. It's crazy. Surely some of these guys are going to stay. I don't know. But for me, Kante needs to stay. And again, it's weird. As I said, I think it was in April. Fabrizio was like, "Oh yeah, it's really close." And now it was May, and he's like, "Oh, we'll see." He said, "We'll see."
What did Matt Law in March or April say he's about to sign a new contract, and it never happened?
Yeah, it's strange, but it just goes to show you again. Guys handling the contracts when Stanley Stewart has sort themselves out. We can't let too many of these players leave as much as we do need players out this summer. I think Kante is one of the only real experienced players left in the squad. I know he's not a leader, but he's still an experience. You need him in big games. So, yeah, I think he needs to stay, and hopefully they sort something out. But yeah, it's incredibly strange how quiet it's gone.
There you go. By the way, Isaac, I've now made you. You've been on the stream as well, and you're literally so often in the chat. I've made you moderator now because not all the moderators are always here. So if you're already telling people to stop spamming, might as well make you moderator. So go on you. Adash, similar question. This is more about opinion rather than asking, what do you think is happening? But do you also find it weird that it seems like in the last few weeks no one's really talking about it? The whole Kante thing.
Yeah, I think it's really surprising that nobody's been reporting on it or talking on it, not just on all sides. It hasn't been Kante's side and even other clubs. We haven't heard any news about him re-signing, but we haven't really heard anything about him maybe talking to other clubs. I saw Barca were interested a while back, and obviously there was the stuff in January about him wanting to stay in London. So Arsenal and Tottenham. But apart from that, we haven't really heard anything. So I'm not sure why it's gone quiet. I think it's very I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, whether it's like good silence or bad silence, whether things have like kind of become worse in terms of the situation. But yeah, I mean, I agree with exactly what Pai said. I think he needs to stay for the experience and for his kind of leadership in his own way. Kind of, I want players to be leaders in terms of voicing their opinions, but I also want people to be leaders in terms of example and leaders by character. And I think Conte is that perfect mix in terms of adding some new dimension of leadership. Yeah, that's what I would say on Conte.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, imagine him kind of like imagine if we sign Caicedo and then like Conte kind of like trading and giving tips to Caicedo. That would just make him even better. I think that would be like an elite combo in terms of like building to the future and having our own Conte.
I would agree. I mean, I'm not sure how likely signing Caicedo still is. The only thing I doubt about that is Kante giving tips to anyone. Well, I mean, if Caicedo would ask, I'm sure Kante would, but I'm not sure Kante being as shy as he is. I don't know him personally, so maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but I just don't think, just because of how shy he seems, I'm just not sure if he's the guy that's going to run around giving tips to people. But yeah, unless anyone else has got any crazy things to talk about that we haven't really discussed on yet, I think we're going to round this one out. Mauricio Pochettino has, I'll bring it back up on screen again one more time, has officially been announced as the new Chelsea head coach, manager, whatever. It's about time. Took him long enough. Clearly, it's not to do with gardening leave, because otherwise they wouldn't only make him. I guess maybe it's financial fair play. That's also the reason why he officially only starts on July 1st and gets wages from that point onwards. But yeah. I guess that's a fun one. That's a fun one. Shall we finish it on an interesting one? And I might as well get the Premier League table up to make it interesting. Adash has put an interesting question. If you had to take one player from each of the 3 relegated teams, who would it be? And Adash, because it's your question, I'll let you go first. And ladies and gentlemen in the chat, obviously put your thoughts as well. Leicester City, Leeds United, and Southampton. Who would be the 3 play, or one of each? Who would you pick? Start with you, Adash.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously kind of depends on outgoings in terms of who would fit our squad most. But I think I watched the highlights. I rewatched the game yesterday, Southampton-Liverpool, and Lavia had a couple of shockers. But I would still take Lavia. I think he's, for his age and how experienced he is, I think I would definitely take him and kind of build for the future. That would be a really good signing for us. From Leeds, I mean, if all of our wingers leave, I think the only kind of acceptable option would be Willy Gnotto. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but he's had like kind of decent spells. He's the only one I would kind of consider taking. Maybe like Tyler Adams, but I don't think he's quite at Chelsea level. And then from Leicester, see, that's tough. I mean, if Mount leaves, and then if Felix kind of we don't re-sign Felix, then maybe like Madison or somebody as like kind of like a backup / I know he played out wide a couple of times for Leicester, so maybe that kind of like an interesting rotation option would be good. Or else I don't really know. Leicester is kind of tough. I don't know who I would take from Leicester. I think it's a more aging squad and people have been underperforming for the last year.
Yeah, it's a tough one, because honestly, as you've said it now, as you've spoken through it, I'd probably go for the same ones, if I'm being perfectly honest. I mean, I can bring this one up here. If I go to the Leicester squad, Tielemans, maybe. Harvey Barnes, maybe. Like, I wouldn't be particularly... I'm not sure why it still says Kasper Schmeichel here, so clearly this is maybe not necessarily correct. But anyway, maybe one of their young like fullbacks, but at the same time, we've signed Gusto. We have 2 left backs that are first team left backs. Then we have Lewis Hall and Ian Martin. So like, I'd probably just make it simple and agree with you. I mean, and honestly, I'd probably agree on all of them. Like at Leeds, I'll be honest, I don't know the Leeds squad that well, but Gnotto is probably the one that stood out the most to me. I guess if we couldn't manage to sign any other strikers, maybe Bamford. Obviously, I don't want Bamford, but if you're forcing me to pick one from their team, maybe I'd consider that. And yeah, from Southampton, it's quite clearly Lavia. For me, Pice, what about you? I mean, do you have anyone else in mind for especially for Leeds?
No, Pretty much what you guys have said. I think Nonto's a good young player. But yeah, no, there's no one really else. I mean, like Adash said, maybe if you're forcing me to choose a backup DM, then maybe Tyler Adams. But yeah, no one really interests me, to be honest.
Hold up, did Leeds sign Weston McKennie? Is that a thing?
He's on loan. He went back to Juventus, but he's been terrible pretty much. Tyler Adams is much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
there you go. This was a great question. Adash, unfortunately, we ended up all picking the same ones. But I guess
great minds think alike.
There you go. But I guess that's part of them being relegated because, if they had many great players for us to pick from, they probably wouldn't have gotten relegated. At the same time, maybe I shouldn't speak too big because, like, Leicester got relegated with 9 wins. We only got 11 wins. We only got 2 more wins than a team that got relegated. So we're not really in a position to give it too much of the big one, I will be honest. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time we round this one out. A couple of people said early predictions for next season. We have plenty of time to do those kind of predictions and stuff still. As the summer goes on, we have so much to talk about. Still with Poch, still with signings, with outgoings. Let's not, burn all our ammo, I guess, in this one stream. So that's what I will say. But yeah, in the week, I'm not sure if Wednesday, maybe Thursday, we will most definitely do a stream in terms of season player ratings for the whole squad, for maybe even all 4 managers. That should be quite fun. So that will be quite good. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please do subscribe if you haven't already. Still over 200 of you here. Massively appreciate that. Hit that like button on your way out. Let's get to at least 100 likes. That would be great. Did this guy reply to me? He did. Customization and redirect. But where is customization? Here. That's where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, I think Lewis is still live. So why is it not doing this? I'm setting up the redirect now, but after you're done here, please head over to Lewis's stream. Tell him I sent you. That would be good. But yeah, check out Pice's website. I think the link is down in the description, even though I wasn't sure whether he would be on, but I think I never took the link out of the description. So londonsfirst.com, check that out, obviously, for all your latest news and all the sorts of interesting articles. I'm sure now with Poch, with potential outgoings, potential incomings, there will be plenty to check out. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards. Appreciate you all. And we'll see you next time.